Greetings to you, dear educators. You're welcome to our channel. I'm so glad to have you here again. And today I'm so excited because we have our first, what do I call you?
First guest.
Our first guest on the channel, and I'm so excited. You know, in the last class, we talked about micro teaching, and I put you through how we can teach in the classroom. And I told you that we were going to have another training on classroom management. So, but something happened. I'm actually in a particular group, and we were discussing um, some issues that happens in school, and somebody said to the platform that corporal punishment, that what exactly can we do about corporal punishment, what can we do exactly when it comes to beating the students, that is it allowed to beat the students. And you know, everybody was discussing, and we are like, okay, some people said if you don't beat these students they won't take you serious and all sorts. So I thought this was a kind of thing to discuss, so that, you know, on this channel we are helping ourselves to learn, to know more about this teaching profession and to do it the right way. So that's why I invited our first guest on the channel to come speak about corporal punishment, you know, how you can actually dance around punishing students, how to avoid corporal punishment, and how to manage the class. So, sir, I would like you to introduce yourself before we go ahead.
All right. Thanks for having me here.
You're welcome.
Um, Briefly, I am Uyiliki David,
Okay.
and by the grace of God, I'm an educator too,
Whew.
and specifically, I teach English language,
Wow.
which was what I studied in school, anyways. Because
Okay.
nowadays it's popular to see people just delve into the teaching line,
Yes, yes, yes,
probably
yes.
because of the assumed situation of things in the country,
Exactly.
whatever.
Yes,
But
yes.
then I would say I studied to be a teacher,
That's
and
good.
I am one
Perfect.
right now.
I'm glad to
So,
hear that.
and so far, I think to an extent, I've journeyed from for like 7 years now in the teaching
Wow.
profession,
Wow.
and still counting by the grace of
Wow.
God.
Wow. That's good. That's good. I'm so happy to hear this. You're welcome once
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
And you've heard it. He's an educator. And that's the reason why, you know, on this channel, we want to talk about like basically education. We don't want to just pick it from the surface. We actually want to treat it from the background. And if you notice my first video on this channel, I actually talked about requirements to be a professionally trained teacher, a professional teacher, you know. And I also told you that there are some people that did not study education from scratch. We don't mean to insult anybody. We don't mean to pull you down or something. But you know, there are processes whereby you can actually say, okay, I'm truly a teacher, and then so that's it. So let's not waste too much time. I have some questions that I've outlined here. But before that, again, okay, let me ask you this very quick question. While you were growing up, did you have the intention of being a teacher?
Well, mine was a funny story. It's a
Okay,
funny story
tell us about
because
it.
you know how it is that while growing up and they ask you, what do you want to become?
Good.
In primary school, I wanted to become a doctor.
Wow.
I got to secondary school in my GSS level. I had the mindset of becoming an artist
Woo.
because at least I think to an extent I can draw.
Wow.
I can
Okay.
draw to an
Okay.
extent.
Okay.
So I wanted to become an artist, but then something happened then. Our fine art teacher was no longer coming,
Hmm.
and there was no other person to take the
The
subject.
subject.
So my GSS 2, GSS 3, we did not have fine art teacher. So at that point in time, I was beginning to develop another interest. And
Hmm.
this one, you cannot study it in school.
Okay.
I wanted to become a soldier.
Wow.
But then
Okay.
But then I still had to finish school,
Of
and I
course.
was like, okay, let me go into the art department because I love reading. When
Okay.
it comes to stories, I read a lot. In fact, I think my dad's library helped me
Hmm.
because right from primary school, I've been picking up books to read,
Okay.
and I just thought about it. Let me go to the art department. I heard that there you can read all you want to read because of
Okay.
literature and you do all these things. So I went to the art department, and finally in my SS3, I fell in love with literature right from this. So I asked my teacher in school, what can I study in school that would make me, read or study literature?
Okay.
Then, as at then, he told me, study English. If you study English, you will do literature. And I was like, wow, this is what I'm doing. And
Okay.
the reason why I said mine was a funny story was because all through these stages, wanting to be a soldier and everything, I had developed interest in teaching also,
Hmm.
which I do in church because
Okay.
I'm a church boy.
Oh, okay.
So
That's good.
I do in church, and someone discovered me in church
Okay.
because it started from the place of doing a youth Sunday, and
Hmm.
then the elderly person that was teaching said, "Okay, today is this Sunday. You guys go and do your thing, teach." And then the moment he saw me teach that day, he was like, "No, you must
There's
continue this thing."
you have
And
the
from
qualities.
and from then on, I began to enjoy teaching.
Hmm.
I felt as if this is something I'm convenient with. Because
Okay.
ideally, or let me say normally, I'm a shy person who does not
Hmm.
talk. But
Hmm.
then the only time I talk is when I stand in front of people to teach them what I know. So I would
Hmm.
say
Okay. To teach
teaching.
them what you
Mhm.
know.
So I would say teaching then has become a passion for me, which I later on turned into a profession.
Yeah, because you developed yourself.
Hmm.
Since you actually know, okay, this is what I want to do, then you
Exactly.
actually go through the right
True,
process
exactly.
and
So
okay.
when I was studying in school, I went for English education because there's a way you study. You can study English and it will be English hard.
Oh yes, yes,
So I
yes.
decided to go for English education because I'll be training
Education.
myself as an educator and at the same
Hmm.
time learning the content of what I want to teach people.
Exactly.
So that was my story, or that's my story
Wow, that's
concerning that.
that's that's very good. And come to think of it, I think yours is still better compared to what I've been hearing from a lot of people. Some people say, I never had the
Of
intention
becoming a
of becoming
teacher.
a teacher. I never had.
Well,
In fact, if I let me give my own story of that. When it comes to education, like I'm being a teacher, I never wanted to be one, to be honest. I never wanted to be one. While growing up, I had the intention to be an accountant. And I actually wanted to make sure to be a professional accountant, so that is to be a chartered accountant. So I'd already planned my things. I went to commercial class, having the mindset that I wanted to be an
an
accountant.
accountant.
But as fate would have it, and I keep saying this, that there are sometimes you want to plan to do things one way, and then
It turns out to
it
be
turns out to be
something
something
else.
else. And it's actually for the good of the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. Because I've come to realize that teaching now is just like you said, when you teach people something, you want to pass the
Pass the
knowledge
knowledge
across, and
across. Yeah.
it's not like a passion. So mine was, well, I wouldn't say mine was a passion, because like I said, I wanted to be an accountant. But my O levels stopped me then. I had issues with my O level results. I did jump. I had a very great score that could take me through the
To
university, but
university. Yeah.
I could not meet up with the requirements. I had to have 5 credits, including English and math. I think I had 4 credits, and I was just at home praying, praying. Like, okay, God, I want to make my O levels and all that. But during the course of waiting, my mom asked that I accompany her to a particular place, and she okay, while going, we met with someone that I know was a very close friend, and the man asked me, "Why are you here with your mom? Are you not supposed to be in school?" And I was like, I'm through with my secondary
Education.
education, and I'm waiting to get admission into the university. I'm like, okay, so what have you been through? Like, what's happening? What are you planning now and all that? I said, okay, actually, O level is what is delaying me because I had my jam very good. I think I had, as at that time, they wanted maybe 200 or 215. I had over 200, maybe 250 or something. So I was like, okay, at least that could take me through. So, but the man mentioned something, and when I was writing my project during my first, that's when I went to College of Education.
Okay.
It was after God and my parents. It was actually the one that I actually acknowledged that it was the one that put me through. When you're actually going through a particular lane before, you actually don't know what you want or something, but
You're
God
just
just
going
used
there.
someone to redirect that step. And so he just told me, instead of following your mom up and down, why not apply for, there's an application going on for I think NCE as at that time,
Okay.
that I should just register. How many credits did you say you have? I said I had 4 credits. That's perfect. They actually, that's the requirement, that theirs was not even credit, that once you have 4 passes,
Passes. Okay.
that you even have more than what they wanted. And I was like, oh, so this O level that I thought was useless can actually
Do
do
something.
something. So, and that was how I went in. During my first year, I didn't really do much because I was just like, okay, this is not what I wanted. I wanted
Just to
to, I was
pass.
just
Just to
to
pass
pass time.
time.
Exactly. Just wanted to go, just leave the house and something. But during the course of the teaching and everything, I discovered that this is not bad. It's not bad. And we were being told that, okay, even after we have been given that the admission, what's it called, provision, that after we have been given the offer that, okay, you can now be part of us and you can study here, I just discovered that they told us that we should not relent, but that we should still go back, do our O levels, and make sure that our O levels was
Clear. You clear the
complete.
results.
Yes. So, and I went through it. During my third year, I made all my O levels because I actually went just like I took to the advice, and I made all. So as at that time, I was already getting to the third level, and that was supposed to be the final year because I was doing full time, and it was supposed to be for 3 years. So on getting to the school that day, a friend of mine said, "Oh, there's an application going on again, this and that, Unilag, this," and I wanted to apply. I still had the intention
Of studying
of studying
accounting.
accounting. So I did jam. I cleared my jams also. And on getting to I think it was the post UTME or something. Then they were supposed to have like, the requirement was maybe 55, and I had 52. I was like, what is wrong? What is all this? What's happening to me? What's happening to me? And I was bothered because I wanted to be an accountant. But while thinking through, that spirit just ministered to me that maybe that God doesn't really want you.
Yeah, there is a purpose for
There's a purpose
everything.
for everything, and you're already in third year. You're true. So are you telling me that if you get the offer, so you're going to
You
leave
abandon the 3 year,
3 years? As a
3 years
matter
you
of fact, it wasn't even
you have
3 years. Oh,
spent.
it wasn't even 3 years. I spent 4 because I didn't enter through year one as proposed by that man,
Oh,
because later they told me that there was no local source or something, so I had to start from prelim,
wow.
and that prelim was 1 year
Before
before
the
the 3 years. So I actually spent 4 years. So at that time I had spent 3 years already. So I was like, okay, so do I now waste
3 years
three years
down
just
the
being
drain.
down the drain? So and that was how the whole thing went. So it was after I was through with my college of education, I was like, okay, you want to study accounting, okay, and you're already, because the department I actually went was still accounting, but now
Education
education.
accounting,
Yes. So as
which
a
makes
matter
the
of fact, it
difference.
makes a difference. And as a matter of fact, that means I have two major. I can actually
That's
work.
that's that's a plus actually.
That's
When
a
you
plus.
it's a
That's a
plus for those that
plus.
have done through the education that
Yes, that's a plus. So I can serve as an accountant and still be qualified as a teacher.
teacher. That's it.
So and that's it. And from there, I started falling in love with teaching,
Teaching.
and I discovered that during my stay, even during the what's it called, the training, teacher
Yeah,
training,
teacher
and all those, we
training.
have to go teaching practice and all that. I discovered I was loving what I was doing. I loved it, and I didn't see it as, and whenever I go into the class, I feel happy
It is.
because I'm happy to share, just like you said, what you
What you
know.
know,
So I'm
share
happy
with
to
other
share
people.
what I know, and it's really a lot. And you see students, they're also happy whenever you come around. So I just
Yes.
feel like I'm actually achieving a purpose.
That's it.
And that's most of the situation. When I ask teachers, do you really want to be a teacher, they're like, oh, I don't want to be a teacher, I want to be an accountant. But one way or the other, we find ourselves here.
Yes.
So
And I think mostly for some people, once they eventually get into teaching, they begin to enjoy it. I think
yes.
for the majority, anyways,
Yeah,
for the
well, yes,
majority,
that's true,
they
not
begin to enjoy,
all.
not all, because
Yes.
definitely there are still some people that are,
They still want
they
to
are still
more.
hanging on, hoping that they will get
Things
that
will
thing that
get
they are
more,
really,
exactly. Yes,
going
yes,
into.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we thank God for everything, and that's why this channel was created. Just to, okay, we've actually seen that we are not actually where we wanted due to one reason
Or
or
the
the other.
other.
But what we are actually doing now, where we are, we should actually make impact. We should actually, so that even after you leave, maybe one way or the other, you actually got what you wanted, and you wanted to leave, and your impact will be
Be
felt.
felt,
That, okay,
definitely.
truly, during my stay as an educationist, during my stay as an educator, I made impact. So, and that's why we created this channel, so that we can actually discuss all these pressing issues that may want to hinder us to have a
We
smooth
working.
practice. So thank you very much for sharing that
Thank
story.
you.
We really appreciate you. So I have some questions that, like I said. So we are going into classroom control now,
All right.
and so we want to know, what do you think an effective classroom control? What do you think it is in a simpler
Okay. I
English?
wanted to say I might not be doing, a scholarly
Yes, yes.
definition of that,
You're
because
welcome.
at the end of the day, we just want it broken down for people to really
Exactly.
understand.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
let me say it in a way everybody would understand.
Okay.
We look at class and we look at control.
Okay.
Controlling something means you have been able to uh, put a measure in place such that that thing does what you want it to do.
Good. Yes. Yes.
I don't want to use the extreme word, but
Okay.
when we say control, it means you have power over
Over.
it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have
Yes.
power over it.
Yes.
So when we say class control, it means the ability of a teacher to be able to, don't let me say exact force now, for you to be able to put order in your classroom as the teacher. So I think
Okay.
I'll look basically at the word order.
Okay. That's like the key.
Orderliness.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Orderliness.
Yes. Yes.
Because when you are able to bring order to your class, it means you have been able to control
The
that
class.
class.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the layman. But if we look at definitions, they are
Okay.
the strategies and the techniques that a teacher will use to control students' behavior in the classroom.
Strategies and techniques.
Techniques.
Yes. When we talk about strategies, we're talking about those methods
Mhm.
that you're going to use to
To
control
control your
your
class.
class.
Make sure
Okay.
that students behave the way they are meant to
Okay. To
behave.
behave. Okay. Can you
Yeah.
mention like some examples of a classroom control? Like, or let me just ask you, how do you control your class?
Well, for me, generally, my students see me as Mr. Nice Guy.
Okay.
And I would say it has its positive sides and has its negative sides.
Okay.
As a teacher, if you want to be a Mr. Nice Guy, be a Mr. Nice Guy outside the
The
class.
class. Okay.
But when you get to your class, still retain your niceties, but try as much as possible to ensure that you have rules for your class that you are strict with, that you are strict with.
Okay.
Because many times, you know, our students, they try you.
Of course.
They
Of
test
course.
you. They want to know
Especially when you're in a government school.
exactly. They want to know if he's nice. This man is nice. So let's see what he
Let's
will
see.
do. So when you don't respond to some of the attitudes or behaviors that they shouldn't exhibit that they are exhibiting, they see
They
it
do
as
more.
a license to disrupt your
Of
class,
course.
a license to do what they are not supposed to do. And definitely, if you have not curb this right from the beginning, it will take a lot of effort for you to curb it in the middle
That is
or
even
at
if
the
you
long run. That's even if you
that's
are
even
able
if
to
you're able
achieve
to
it.
do that. Yes.
So, for me, what I do is I try to create a first impression every time I enter class.
Okay.
And particularly for the first time I would have a contact with them.
Okay.
The first time I would have contact with them, I tell them, these are the things I want. And then the way you react to their testing that day is what will make them to know if you will continue to accept what they are doing or not. So I try
Yes.
as much as possible to make my first classes
Okay.
a class of,
Like an
setting
orientation.
exactly orientation, and then setting rules, and then judging what they are doing to give an accurate response to their behaviors. Once you are
Okay.
able to do that in the first class, you see, in the next class they would already know that this is what you want. So if someone tries that and you re-exact what you did in the first class, they will take it as no, it does not
It
take this.
doesn't
He
take
might be
this.
nice
Of
outside class, but when
course.
we get to class,
It's
and then of
a
course again, once I enter class, every time, the first thing I tell them is remember the rules I gave you before.
good.
This is what I want, this is what I want. And they know it already. So once you go against the rule, there are measures that can be put in place to,
Yes,
curb that
yes, to
also or
curb that.
correct that.
Yes, thank you very much. If I should understand for viewers, what he's trying to say here is that there should be a kind of, like we said, orientation. You would have like a meeting. For me, I call it family meeting.
Yeah, sure, we can say
family,
that.
family meeting, to let the students know your kind of person. Like I was in a class today and it was my first time entering the class. And I had to tell them, I said, if you don't want us to have issues, there are do's and
And
don'ts.
don't.
So, and I started listing them one after the other. I said, in my class, no eating, no drinking. In my class, once you see me talking, you are
You
not
don't talk
expected to talk
until you are given the
until
permission
you're
to
given the
do
permission
so.
to do so. Don't talk with your friends. If there's anybody talking to you while I'm talking to you and you are responding to that person, it means you don't like yourself. Because I'm going to punish the two of you together. After which, I also mentioned some things like, okay, in my class, there's nothing like, Auntie, I want to go and pee. Auntie, I want to use the toilet. Auntie,
Those things can be, those things can be distracting to teachers also. First
yes.
person stand up. You are thinking if the person has a question concerning what you are seeing, and the
And
next thing you hear is, and well, we might have cases like that, but it shouldn't be something that is constant.
constant.
Constant,
Of
because at the end
course.
of the day, the teacher has something planned to teach, and when you keep getting, excuse me, man, I want to go to the
Out of
restroom.
40 minutes.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you discover that the teacher is unable to finish what has been planned already.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. So, and these students, especially those ones that just came in, when we talk about those coming from primary 6 to GSS 1, they still have this
I
attitude.
call them higher primary school
Oh my
students,
God,
because ideally they are in
babies.
primary school
Of
too.
course, like
Higher basic education,
of
maybe
course,
adult.
yes, exactly, exactly. They still behave like babies, and you see them. And the funny thing is that after telling them that this is what I wanted, this is what I wanted, you still see them repeating
The same
the same
thing.
thing. But at least you had made yourself clear from the first time. So if they were about to do that, maybe there will be someone that will still remember these rules, that
Yes.
okay, auntie has said this,
Yes.
auntie has said this. So if they want to do that, it may not be all, it may be the stubborn
Yes.
ones among them. And we
Yes.
also know that it is true that nature can call, and maybe you need to use the ladies or something,
Definitely,
but
definitely.
it doesn't have to be all the time. And then I gave a kind of orientation to them that okay, when you come into the school in the morning, the first thing is to go to the toilet,
Use the restroom,
use the
free
restroom,
yourself.
free yourself, and then at the end of the maybe after each period and a teacher leaves the class and
You
instead there's no
may
teacher, you
exactly
can
you may
also,
use the restroom
so
then.
that you don't get to distract the class when the next teacher comes in. So these are things that we actually need to take note of when we talk about effective classroom control. Okay, now the next one here says what are the benefits of maintaining a well-managed classroom?
Well, for that, there are a whole lot of benefits, but I might not be talking about much.
Okay.
Let me just use the word. It creates a better climate, and this is what I mean by that. You know, sometimes when we look at the atmosphere, we can deduce what is going to happen when we look at the
Of
atmosphere.
course, yes.
You
Well,
look at the sky, you say,
it's
it's
going to
about to rain,
rain.
it's going
Yeah.
to rain, and then immediately that sends a signal to you. If you are
Prepare yourself.
somewhere, you prepare yourself and you
Of
begin to worry.
course.
But when you see the sun shining, you can be like,
Oh,
okay.
I have all the
So
time.
when we say it creates a better climate in class, it means that it gives the teacher the ability to do what he's supposed to do and then be able to achieve it. And I'll still talk about that. Like I tipped in when you were saying students go to the restroom, come
Okay.
back. You know, when the class is not in order, the teacher tries as much as possible to put it in order.
Yes.
Hey, you get up. Hey, you come here. Hey, you stand up. Hey, you sit down. Now, calculate the time you use in doing stand up, sit down, come up. Do you know at the end of the day, one might not be able to achieve the content
Yes.
of the
Yes.
class
Yeah, because you
itself?
have behavioral objective that you must actually
Mhm.
achieve.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, if you have been able to achieve class control, like I said, right from the beginning, it gives your subsequent classes a better atmosphere
Exactly,
for
because you
you
already know
to
the rules.
thrive as a teacher and to do what you want to do. Because
Okay.
we have come to a time where you can, and it works both ways. It works both ways
Yes.
because
Yes.
it also creates a better climate for students. You
Students.
can rightly engage them to do what they need to do, and they can give you the feedback that you need them to give you without disruptions.
Exactly.
Without
Yes.
disruption. So I
Yes.
think let me
Yes.
just end it on better
Yes.
climate. It
Yes.
gives you the
Yes.
right atmosphere
Atmosphere.
for
Yes.
everything. In fact, you would enjoy yourself. Your students will enjoy you and also enjoy themselves if they are actually part of the class, spirit, soul, and body.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true because
So,
there are actually some students that are in the class, but they are not in the
exactly,
class.
exactly.
So that's very correct, and I like that. Just like you have said, the teacher is not distracted, and then you are able to achieve your. Do you know that sometimes when students come to me to say, "Auntie, I want to do this," if I wanted to say something, I tend
It
to
has
forget.
it has stopped the flow of thoughts.
Exactly. So I have to start like, okay, what did I say last? So most times I tell them, please don't come and meet me for anything. I said, if you want to get the best out of me, because I'm trying as much as possible to teach you in a way that you will not forget. So I don't want to use, and that's why most of the time you don't see me going into the classroom with my textbooks or something, because not that I had actually prepared before the class, but it is a kind of I don't know, maybe it's because I'm now used to teaching, even if it is a new topic that I have not taught before. The only time you can see me taking a notebook into my class is maybe when I'm taking that topic for the
For
first
the
time.
first time.
So if I assuming I am supposed to take A, B, and C classes, so when I go to A, I may pick the book. I wrote my lesson notes. So one way or the
Yes.
other, I
You
already
have what is
have
there.
a glimpse of
Definitely you
what is there.
prepared for it.
Exactly, yes. So, and then coming to the class, the first class I had actually gone through it. By the time I go to the next class, I don't make use of it again. So what you now see me doing is relating it in a way that anybody can understand.
Can
And that's
understand.
why I tell my students, you don't need to cram the textbook. When I ask you,
You
define.
know what you just mentioned now is what makes a good teacher. Let me use the word.
Okay.
Because of course you might have prepared a particular way, although we can also prepare for that before our classes.
Of course, of
You are
course.
prepared in a way, but then we now need to judge the students that are in our class. But then even after judging them, we still need to get to class and see the situation on ground, so
Exactly.
that you can vary your explanation in a way that from A to Z they all can get what you are trying to
Exactly.
say.
Yes, yes, yes. So I try to carry them along, and most of the time I don't just read the book to them and just say, okay, so that's it. No. I tend to, most of the time my class is always like storytelling. Like I do
That's
it in a
good.
way that I bring it down to them,
Mm-hmm.
how they can relate.
Mm-hmm.
I bring it out to their society, to their community, so that anytime they're talking about it, they don't actually need to cram. But when they remember the
From their
teaching,
experience,
so they relate it with
the
their experience, and then they can
experience.
actually express
You know
themselves.
what you just said now. Sorry, I'm cutting short.
No, 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 no.
What you just said now made me to remember when I was in secondary school.
Okay,
There's this particular subject that I never liked,
okay.
and that's government.
Oh,
And the reason why I never liked government was because um, the teachers that taught us then,
okay,
I want to believe they didn't uh, put into factor what you just did now.
okay,
I had two government teachers in my SS1, SS2. Okay, I
okay.
had a different one in SS3, but you know, we are in the we're in the terminal class already,
Oh
and
yes, yes.
well, I
No.
wouldn't say all hope was lost because I still managed to read and pass. But
Okay.
then what they did was that they would just come to class, read out the textbook to us, and that's the explanation.
Can you imagine?
They just come to class, read what is in the
In the
note, they read it out to us again, and that's all. That's the explanation. So when we come out of class, it's almost as if we've gained nothing. We've
nothing.
gained nothing. If my teachers then have been able to use this kind of method, relating it with my experience, even if I cannot get everything, then at least they would have tried as much as possible
At
to be
least.
able to give me more of
Yes.
what I need to know.
Of
So
course.
that at
Of
the end of
course.
the day, if I remember, I can remember my math teacher then, he was using Mr. Latin and Babasuwe
Okay.
to explain to us.
So
You
and students are
you hear
you know.
if Mr. Latin has 5 naira, but
Aha.
he's owing Babasuwe 50 naira,
Aha.
how much does he have? So the moment you remember Mr. Latin and Babasuwe, immediately
You even find
you
interest.
exactly
You find
it
you
piques
make
the
it
interest of
so
students.
students are like carried along,
Mm-hmm.
and they're actually flowing with you because you're taking them from known to unknown. So that's a good one. So, and I also discovered that these students, when you tend to come down to their level, when you tend to break it down, I know not all of them are willing to learn.
Yes.
Some come to school for different reasons, but most of them would actually appreciate that, and they'll look forward to your classes every time
Every
that you're like,
time.
they're like, okay, even when you don't have them, and you say, what do you have now? They mention your subject because they actually want you to come again and give them that experience they
That's it.
actually wanted.
That's it.
So,
Not to spite other teachers anyway, but I think we need to do our jobs well. Because like you said now, I've had cases of they see a teacher coming and they see you passing by as the teacher and they say, Mr. Heleke, come
we
and
have
teach
you.
us, come and teach us, come and teach
Can
us.
you imagine?
Meanwhile, I'm not supposed to have them at that time. There's
But
another
they
teacher to enter,
but they don't want
but
that
then they
teacher.
don't want that teacher to
Yes,
enter. It can
yes,
be
yes.
for a lot of reasons.
Of
Probably the
course.
person might be stricter than I am, or it can also be because of this. Probably the person's class is just a class that
It's just there, it's
you
just
don't
there,
really look forward to it. It might not be that the person is strict, but they're really
Exactly. They don't
nothing
really
you
want.
get you know there's let me use
Yes.
their language, you don't vibe in the class. You cannot vibe with the class.
That's
So at the
true.
end of the
That's
day,
true.
you
That's
don't look
true.
forward to something you wouldn't enjoy at the end of the day.
Yes, yes, it's true, and it's one of those things that when I remember, I feel somehow because, like, and that's why when I teach these students and I see that there are some, we're talking about corporal punishment, and there are some things that actually lead to these things, and these are what we're actually tackling now. And sometimes students tend to misbehave,
Yeah, definitely.
but during the course of teaching them, during the course of teaching them, if you actually made meaning with what you were teaching them,
Teaching.
the people that will even discharge your class will be less because they actually want to know more.
More, yeah.
And that's why sometimes when I teach and maybe some of them tend to disrupt the class or something, I get so angry and I'm like, if I could see someone to teach me the
The way
way
I'm teaching
I am
you,
teaching you
the way
now,
I'm investing
I'm
my
saying,
energy and time and everything into what
you
I'm
know,
doing.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it pains me sometimes, and sometimes they see the pain in my eyes because I tend to like tell them that the opportunity you had,
If I had
if I
such.
had such opportunity, I will be better than this, and that's true.
Yeah,
And
yes.
and these days, just like you said, not to spike other teachers or not to belittle them or something, not to say we are the best. Nobody is the best. We are all trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get better.
exactly.
We're trying to get better, but sometimes some teachers don't really see it as anything. They just come to the class, give you like the way you mentioned,
Deliver.
they just so that you
Upload
don't.
and download.
And this might be as a result of so many reasons. It might be as a result of so many reasons. Like, it may not be the teacher's subject. These days, see where teachers that are not even trained to teach a particular topic are being told to train to teach
Teach
those
those
topics, maybe due to
topics.
the fact that they were short of staffs and all those things. And these things may also affect teaching learning
Yes,
processes.
yes.
So it may also be that it's not that they don't want to teach well, but because they have been taken out of their specialization.
Not
just
of
just
their
like just
exactly.
like when you ask me to teach mathematics, I'm not a trained mathematics
Oh, I
teacher,
come to teach basic science. The
Good.
irony of it.
So these things also can affect teaching learning process. So, but let's go back to the point I got from there is that when there is create a climatic
The right
the
atmosphere.
right
Create the
atmosphere,
right
and
atmosphere.
when you do this, it actually means that you are helping yourself, helping the students.
Yeah.
Teacher is able to achieve the objective that has been set,
Students
and
also get
students also,
achievements
yeah,
also.
they achieve because there's nothing to distract them, so the environment is actually peaceful so that learning can take
Take
place.
place.
And when this happens, then but we want to know now, what we're going into now is, okay, even after setting these rules, we know that there are some students
That will
that will
definitely,
they will disrupt the class. There's nothing you can
definitely,
do. There's no,
definitely,
like, there's
definitely.
not how perfect you can be. There are these special students that, so what do you think can be, or before I even go into that, what do you think corporal punishment is?
Uh, it's as simple as inflicting physical pain
Okay.
on students. So when we talk about corporal punishment, it can take any form. It might not just be cane.
Of course. Of course.
Spanking is there,
Of course.
slapping is there, probably to the extent of blows sometimes,
Kicks.
kicks, and every of those things. And those things altogether will be termed as corporal punishment because let me say the aim of the teacher,
Okay.
of a kind of teacher like that, is to make you feel something for what you have done.
Then,
Because you have done
there
this,
should
I
be
need you to
of
feel
course,
something
of
that
course.
you'll be able to
Yes.
point to at the end of the day, if not for a long time, but at least for a short time. And when you remember it the next time, you'll be able to
But do you know
maintain
that there are some students that will also say that um, there's no matter punishment they have
punishment.
given that would actually do anything to them.
They'll tell you, is it normal than flogging?
He's
That's a
just going to,
pop,
he's going
that's a
to flog
popular.
me, yes,
Go
and
and
that's
tell.
all.
I'll go and tell Mister. Go and tell now. Is it normal than flogging? Is it normal than flogging? Which is
Exactly.
not eventually achieving what we aim for it to achieve at the end of the
Exactly,
day.
exactly. Now, let me add to that. When we talk about corporal punishment, we're actually talking about, excessive means of punishing students for the wrong things that they've
You
done.
don't.
For example, when you ask a child to carry a big stone as a result of punishment, or you tell the child, maybe the child has been stolen down for like 2, 3, 4 hours, to the extent that
Semi-military training or military training now.
exactly, or you ask the child to score. There are a lot of ways you can give corporal punishment. And sometimes some punishments, the reason why they call it corporal is because they believe that those punishments are way too high for such
Such to bear, for such
child
child
to
to
bear.
bear.
Yes, but looking at this corporal punishment we're talking about, there are some students that I don't want to call them names. I don't want to call them names. There's no height that punishment can bring that would make them feel sober for what they have done. And you, in the other aspect, you want to actually make them feel the pain that you felt while they disrupted your class or
Person did this, I
something.
felt it,
Yes,
so you
so
must
you
also
have you
feel
have to
something.
feel this. But when we talk about this corporal punishment, something brought about corporal punishment. There was a rule, or will I call it a law or an enforcement, that the government made, that teachers should not make use of cane.
Pain,
You
yeah.
understand? So because before things were what it is now, when a child misbehaves in the class, you tend to give the child some strokes of the cane, 2 strokes, 3 strokes,
Correct
depending
whatever
on,
notion or
yes.
whatever you had
And even the
before.
Bible says that when you spare
Spare
the
the rod,
rod,
you
you
spoil the
spoil the
child.
child. And then there's another part that I think it's the Yoruba version. I know that we're loving poem, no, egba or
Aya
something.
ọmọdé ni wèrè
We're
lù sí.
something like
I
that.
think that's also
So
scripture, is in the Bible. Aya
it's in
ọmọdé
the
ni wèrè
Bible.
lù sí.
Yes.
Huh? Tá a máa fi
Eh,
lè jáde.
good. In fact, you're so good. You're so good in your. So that's it. That's it. So the Bible supports this, that when a child goes wrong, there are ways in which you can make the child feel sober for what he or she has done. But government has said don't use cane. And I think I understand why the government
From
said
the
so too.
point,
Yes,
exactly.
because you find that out most of the time, maybe because I don't want to take this channel. I don't want to take it into believers something. But
Yeah.
there are some times that you cannot just talk and just see it as the physical alone. So I'm just trying to say that maybe it's because of the end time. The world is coming to an end, because of things that are happening. On a normal day, you beat a child, nothing happens to the
Nothing
child.
happened.
You in fact, most times parents beat their more than what teachers beat them
Yeah.
at in
Different
school.
children, yeah.
You understand? And nothing happens to these students. But on these things now happen, that when you now beat a child, maybe it's just a cane, and you start hearing
Then
something like
you hear adverse
headache, and
effects.
so I think that's the reason why government now said, okay, no using
No use.
of cane. So how do you tend to correct this child without making use of the cane? And that's where this corporal punishment comes in, because people, teachers were like, okay, I can't use cane, but you walk. You walk and your head will be correct.
I will exert you.
you
I will
you you
exhaust your energy.
and that energy that you can use to, it's because of the pain. And government will also say something like, okay, maybe it's because the teachers were very angry when those students did those things, so they tend to
Yes, that can
pass
also be
that
part of it.
aggression on them by
Yeah.
beating them in an excessive way or something. So that's why the government said, okay, no cane. So I now discovered that I think this because of this no cane issue, especially
Yeah,
in
we
private
see a lot
school.
of things growing, a lot of things
Yes,
developing.
yes, because even in private schools now, you don't dare beat a child with a cane.
Yes.
If you do that, the teachers were being punished, if not being dismissed.
I
You
think it's
understand?
even there
So,
from right from employment. Once
good.
here we don't beat. I once worked in a school like that. Here we don't beat.
See?
But then there are measures that we can put in place also to.
Now,
But even here we don't beat that we said there in that school. At a time, they had a disciplinary committee
okay.
that once a student does something,
Take
to
them to
take them
the.
over. And
Okay.
if it warrants beating,
Okay.
hmm, there are people who are specialized in
In
that area,
that.
and they believe, because like you said, they believe they won't beat the student out of anger. So the kind
Because
of
actually it
beating,
didn't happen to them.
mhm,
So
the kind of
they
beating they
just
will give will not be a beating that will inflict an injury on
on
the
them.
child.
Yes, yes,
Because,
yes.
like you said, many things have led to this corporal
Corporal
punishment and
punishment.
then no cane policy in school. Probably like because, like you said, some people do it out of anger, probably because it has spiritual undertone, and many of these things. And sometimes too, if we look at it, sometimes there are some situations that do not even warrant cane.
Okay.
They do
Really?
not warrant caning.
Okay.
But we have to be better judges as teachers.
Okay.
We have to be better judges. For some people, the only solution they have is to flog. The only solution they have for everything is to flog.
And when a child gets used to flogging,
Mhm.
it doesn't
That's
change
why we
anything.
hear cases like I said the other time. It's no more than flogging. I'll report you to Mr. Oyeleke. Go ahead. Is it no more than flogging?
Flogging.
And then, do you know that students develop resistance to our caning because
Of course.
they've got used
Used to
to it.
it.
It doesn't feel like anything again. Let me quickly equate it to something that is coming to my head now.
Okay.
Look at our mothers.
Okay.
They've been able to endure the heat from pots
Hmm.
to the extent that some of them do not even use anything to carry it from
That's
the,
correct. Yes,
they
yes.
just go straight and you be like, can you imagine, and they just do, don't worry, they carry it and you put
They
it
had
down.
already
But
known
you
the
try
timing. They had already,
it,
so before
so
it gets into them, they had
exactly.
already dropped
But
it or
you try
something.
it as a novice and do that, you might be there for days and
Of
still be
course.
feeling the
Of
pain.
course.
So the same way for our students, many of them, if you beat them for everything, they will get used to it and they'll say it's no more than that. Such that the next time you beat them, it doesn't even have effect on them again. They will feel the pain definitely because no one will be beaten and
Of
not feel the pain.
course.
But then they have been able to quickly kill the pain.
Kill the pain. And some will even say, okay, there's no matter the
Not
numbers of cane
strokes
that you
that they are
give me,
giving.
I would not cry.
That's why they even begin to, let me use the word, shame the teacher. They hail themselves, right?
Of course.
I
Yeah,
want to beat you,
exactly.
Kasali, come here. Pa, 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 pa. And Kasali does like this.
Uh-huh.
And
They
then
say,
hey, or then and it gives
yes.
the others the morale.
Now what is it?
Yeah, okay, if
Yeah,
Kasali can
can,
do that,
of
I
course
think
I can
I can also
do even
develop that
better.
and be able to do something like
Yes,
that.
yes,
So
yes.
I think in that school, like I said, it's a policy right from the beginning. Once you
Okay.
get there, they tell you, we don't beat you. If there's anything extreme, take to the disciplinary committee so that they will know what to do. If there aren't beating, you warrant some other measures, then they'll put in place, all for the purpose of achieving, correction and molding
Corrections.
the kind of students that we want to have at the end of the day.
Well, that's a good one. But sometimes even this will I call it this committee that you had said, sometimes they don't really do a lot. I don't know
Yes, yes,
why I'm
yes.
feeling that way,
That's true. That's
because
true.
because you may feel that okay, that will actually charge the whole thing, but on getting to another student, you now discover, we have, these students they grow up from different
Different
environments,
environments,
and
different
a
backgrounds.
child that his father or mother had already been beating him or her with wires or
Whip,
whip.
let's use the word whip
Okay,
now.
whip, good, not cane now.
Mhm,
So that means you're like beating a criminal.
mhm.
So if you using a cane, it doesn't really go.
It
So
doesn't go well.
and then at the end of the day, you just feel that, okay, you just see that, okay, whatever it is that you had corrected them for would still
Still repeat
repeat
itself.
itself. Now, this issue of this corporal punishment and caning, because that teacher that was talking about this caning, on that platform I told you. She was pained. She was saying it. There are sometimes when someone is pained, you can even see that through the words
the
when you
words and
read.
then
When
their
you read,
reactions and
yes. So she was like, okay, I can't beat this child, and this child is so spoiled,
the child knows you can't beat
and the
him or
child
her,
knows it. So that would have
and would
been,
even tell you they have said
oh
you
my God.
should not beat us.
Were you in my school during my training when I was in my teaching practice? That was about I think I was in the College of Education because I actually had teaching practice. You did teaching practice in the
Yes,
university too,
yes,
right?
yes.
But this one was in the College of Education. Did you know that this child actually told me? I was in the class and they called him. Our former governor, Governor Hambode. He was our governor that time. So this child I'm talking about now is actually, I think he shares the same surname.
Okay.
So with him, so he's also called Ambode.
Body.
So every time, I think because maybe most of them, their parents are politicians, and they used to have, politicians um tend to have this, like, sense of belonging, like, okay, there's nothing you can
There's
do, we
nothing.
are there, whatever it is that you want to do, you meet us there and all that. So this has been inculcated into that child. So you find out that anytime he's walking, he's even walking as if he's one
The owner of the school,
the owner of the
obviously, I have a
school.
stake here.
Exactly. So, and you see students hailing him. Ambode, and he's like, hey. I'm like, hey. Now there was a day I taught them, I think, because as at that time I think I was taking computer studies, and we were in class. I asked a question. He didn't answer. He didn't even raise his hand, and I didn't take that as an offense. But somebody offered to give answer, and he was distracting the child, the student. And I was like, you don't have anything to say. Now someone wants to talk, when they talk, maybe because the child was not fluent or something, so
So
you
you are
don't
trying
where
to.
those kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Leave my class. That was after like 2 to 3 times he had done such a thing. I had already corrected him, and he did it the second time. So I had to send him out of the class. Did you know this guy, when he went out, he stood um
The entrance
by
to
the
the entrance.
entrance, and because we are being told that you should not actually deprive a child
Of
of
learning.
learning. So even if you feel you wanted to send the child out, let the
Let the
child
child
be
hang
around,
around.
maybe at
Yes.
the back of the class or something. So immediately I remember that I left him. That, okay, at least you are serving a punishment, you are out of your comfort
Outside.
zone, you are
Yeah.
outside, but you are still listening to
To
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying.
But discover that from that place, this guy was still disrupting the class. So I was so angry, and I told the child to get me a cane. Are you with me now?
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, get me a cane, he said, auntie, he spoke to me in Yoruba language.
Mm-hmm.
Auntie, wọ́n sọ pé kẹ́ máa nà wá o. Like, not Amy specifically,
Mm-hmm.
but like
Don't beat us.
they said it, because as at that time, government actually made a kind of platform, gave parents platform, that whenever you see a
You can
teacher
always reach
beating,
out.
call this number.
Reach out.
So everybody was scared. So this, I think the parents had already told the students also. So they had the mindset that nobody is beating me no
Nobody's
matter what I
of
do.
course.
So at the end of the day, the child was like, what's up, man? No, wow. So immediately I heard that, I was very angry. That, what's up, man? No, like, don't you know you are spoiling your life? If it's because spare the rod,
And
spoil the child.
I think one thing I would have loved about this no caning of the thing is to have enforced it amongst the teachers, probably in a teacher gathering.
Okay,
If you would have to make teachers sign whatever it is they have to sign, and
okay.
enforce it for the teachers, but do not make the students aware, because that
Aware.
is giving them the wings and has made them to develop, even those that have probably been curbing whatever they had before. The moment they know, or the moment they knew and know that it has been It has
enforced
been
or
enforced
some,
on
so
child.
they wouldn't
So
take it
it
as
brings
anything.
out everything that they've been
Yes, they
hiding
want to,
before. Because
exactly.
at the end of the day, you
No
can
caning.
do nothing about it. You cannot
Exactly.
cane me. So if it
Exactly.
had been left to just teachers, but probably I guess how the students would have heard is because I think it's a thing in Lagos State also. Even
Of
for
course,
parents,
yes.
if a parent should
Yes.
beat the child or should do something that the child can feel a lot and they can see traces of marks or
Okay,
whatever,
okay. The
the
parent will
child
be
can report the
sanctioned.
parent and the parent will be sanctioned for such. So I guess
Okay.
that is a way the message would have spread across even to the students
To student, because
to
they are actually taking this to another level, and some teachers would say, okay, it got to an extent when you cannot beat a child again, and they're still saying no corporal punishment.
no
And when
corporate.
you tell a child go and face the naughty corner, what does that do? It does little or
It does
no
little.
correction, because when you tell a child, okay, you're disturbing my class, stand up, face the naughty corner, and the child just, that
Go
those things
face
can actually
go
work
face
for
there and continue.
crutch.
They continue whatever they are doing
They
from there.
continue.
Like what you just said now.
Yes,
Someone is standing at the entrance, not in the comfort zone, and it's still disturbing from
from
the
that place,
if there's a word like uncomfort, but discomfort. It's working from the
exactly,
discomfort
the
zone
common zone,
and it's
yes,
still
still
disturbing
disrupting
the
the
students at the
class.
classroom.
Teachers will now say, okay, we were told not to cane you. Okay, viewers, so after so much talks on corporal punishment, we want to look at the effective alternatives to corporal punishment. So, Mr. Yeleke, you're going to give us effective alternatives, that those alternatives, those things we can actually do instead of
Oh,
corporal
corporal
punishment, so that you still have so that you still maintain your class
yes,
control.
the
That is those
control
things you can do to still maintain your class control, but not giving them corporal punishment. So what do you think you can, or what do you advise teachers to do?
well, I might not have much alternatives, and that's because I don't want to say something from the book. I
Okay,
want to say something from probably what I have been able to
your experience.
from my experience. And one thing I'll be able to say from my experience is this: definitely, every teacher knows those ones that are, should I use the word, don't let me use the word stubborn, let me use the word exceptional.
Okay,
The exceptional.
okay,
So every teacher knows those ones that are exceptional in
in
class.
class.
And definitely, one thing I have been able to realize and understand, even from my previous school, is
Okay,
that every child has his or her own strength and weaknesses. So
okay,
we try as much as possible to look at the strength of each child.
okay.
There's a particular student in my class. I observed that this student is loud, likes to talk. Work with that student. Probably during break, closing time, call that student. Come, let's look at this thing together. Okay, this one and this one. When I get to class tomorrow, you will talk about this.
Hmm.
When I get to class tomorrow.
Okay.
Mhm. And then, somewhere there, students respect students. When they see those exceptional or stubborn students, they want to calm down and hear what they
Engaging.
want to that person has to say. That way, you have been able to an extent bring out the ringleader, and because the ringleader is the one that is, you
Talking
know,
now, engaging in the class. So the
exactly,
rest of
the
them would
rest of them would
actually,
have actually pay attention. So I see giving responsibilities to
okay,
those ones that are, mm,
exceptional.
give them
Okay.
responsibilities that will keep them engaged in class. And by engaging them in class, you are making sure that others would also, and beyond the classroom, you see, there's this thing I do for every other thing. You are a student in my class, you did not pay attention when I was talking, you were probably disturbing the class. I ask you a question you do not know, then I take your time. But that's
Okay.
when I say I take your time. Your break time is no longer your break time. because your break time we are spending it together.
Together.
Your
Okay.
closing time we are spending it together. You are supposed to go home by 2 o'clock. I delay you till 2:30. Not just that you are standing in my office, but
Uh-huh.
you are doing something,
Something.
probably
Okay.
something you don't want to do. At the end of the day, I want to see what you have been able to achieve within that time. If
Time.
you do not achieve what I want you to achieve, you still come again
You
tomorrow.
still come and
So
continue.
that way, I have been able to achieve two things.
Okay.
I have sent a signal to you that if this continues in the next class,
You
you would
still
face the same
repeat the
thing.
same
And at
thing
the same time, I have been able to make you get what you did not get in my
in
class because you
class.
were not paying
Okay.
attention or
Okay.
because you were trying to disrupt my class. Because definitely, for someone that is trying to disrupt the class, he or she has lost out of whatever you are saying at that point in time.
Okay.
So rather than just give them punishment and they will not recover what they've lost, you punish them and at the same
They
time
are
help
learning
them to recover what they have
what they have
lost.
lost.
So that way, if other students see it, those that don't want to, even if they might not pay much attention, but they'll still try as much as possible to be calm because they don't want to lose their break time,
Of
particularly for the
course.
male folks. They
Yes.
know break time is a time to play ball.
Football. Yes. Yes.
So
That's
when you tell them your break time, you are spending it together. They try the first
so.
time they are in your office, second
Uh-huh.
time they're in your office, the
So
third time they
they
don't
don't
want
want
to
to do
miss
that
out.
again, of
So they
course.
try as much as
To
possible.
concentrate in class.
My mom used to say something. They say Otoni Omo Oro, Otolomo Egba.
Okay.
There are some people you flog them,
And
they will
some
hear. Some people don't flog them, talk to them.
just
I'm
talk to
someone that
them.
if you talk, there are some people you can talk to them, they will listen. But there are some people they need measures like what I've said.
Of course, of course, of
So some
course.
people need that punishment aspect.
So
Some people
just those
just need
are
you to talk to them.
okay.
Sit them down, talk to them. You are better than this. What is wrong with you? Why are you doing all this? They feel you are talking to them and they don't want people to talk to
Talk
them.
to
So they'll
them.
sit right
Yes,
and
yes.
do what they are meant
So,
to
and
do.
I think the best thing is just get to know your students,
Get to
and
know
then
your
so when you
students.
know them, you're able to detect, or you're able to give them the adequate thing you wanted, or the adequate let's say punishment now for
Punishment.
them. If it
Yeah.
is to cane, and okay, we're saying no
No
cane. Okay, so
cane.
if it is to talk, or if it is to waste their
Waste
time,
their
well, waste that
time.
I'm not even wasting, but then to them it's
To
like a waste
them,
because they're not playing
exactly,
at that time and
exactly,
all that.
exactly.
Okay, so
And
thank you very
sorry,
much.
before we
Okay.
go, you mentioned something the other time, although that works basically for those that are in the lower levels.
Okay.
Put them in a naughty
Not
corner.
gonna.
And I think in my previous school, there's this thing, they put a tag on them.
Oh,
They carry a tag for the week. Some people don't like that
of
thing.
course. That's like
We might think for some people it doesn't work. That's why I said different strokes for
some will
different
choose.
folks.
They will keep playing even with the tags. They are
Exactly.
still, and some
Just
that's so sober. Like
exactly,
they don't like
exactly.
this.
So they are different. We just need to
Yes,
study
get to
our
know
students
them
and
and
not be too
yes,
fixed on I must cane them, I must cane them.
of course, we should
So
actually
look for
other
measures that can be
measures.
positive. Because at the end of the day, the reason why we should be punishing them is even because we
Yes,
want them
to
to turn
learn
out
and to be
better,
yeah to get better
have a
than before.
positive result for it.
Of
So
course, of course. Thank
that's
you so
basically it.
much. We really appreciate this, and I really enjoyed myself. I don't know
I
viewers if
did
it is
too.
so. It's really a nice talk with you. Thank you so much. So, final word for teachers generally, just a short one. Final word for teachers.
All right. I think basically what I'll say for teachers is this. Let's not look at the present condition of teachers in our country because that's one thing I thought about at the beginning of this talk.
Okay.
One reason why people would not even want to venture into teaching is because of the way teachers are treated. But don't look at that. Do what you're doing.
Okay.
And definitely those that will, they used to say teachers, their rewards are in heaven, but then it's not even until you get to heaven.
Of
The
course, of
rewards are here
course.
on earth.
Yes,
We've
yes,
had
yes.
cases of teachers who are reaping the fruit of what they've sown.
Exactly,
And in my
exactly.
little years also, I have students that I have taught that still reach out to me from time to time. They might not be
Same
giving
here.
monetary
What, of
stuff yet,
course, but
but then the words
yes,
and the
yes,
things you
yes,
hear from
yes.
them and reaching you for advice because they know you are their teacher, and
Yes,
then
yes,
all these
yes.
things give me joy.
Of course, of
So that should
course.
be our motivations also
Yes.
as teachers. So keep doing what you are doing and do it to the best of your ability.
Okay.
It will take you somewhere one day, and definitely I believe God
Amen.
that it is going to be a good one at the end of the day.
Amen.
So
Amen. Thank you so much. And this is really lovely. Like I said earlier, I really enjoyed myself.
to
And we hope to see you next time because we'll be touching a lot of, tackling a lot of issues. And this is just one of it. It's a start. And we hope to see you. I hope when we call you next time, you would
we
also.
will be there by God's
Okay,
grace.
amen. Thank you so much. Please kindly help me tell viewers to subscribe to this channel and to like this
Three
video.
things, please:
Okay.
like, subscribe,
Yes.
and share.
Share. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you.
You're
God bless
welcome.
you.
Amen.
Okay, viewers, till I meet you next time. We're still talking about this corporal punishment, and I would also invite another speaker to also talk more on this. We have to learn from different
Different
perspectives.
protocols.
So, thank you very much. Till I meet you again, keep changing lives and keep nurturing lives. Bye.